So as an African woman, it's normally very challenging to really share your story of divorce to the community or to the world. So it actually took me time and training to really learn to share my story. I had to go do a lot of inner work for me to be able to really share my story.
Welcome to Who Cares About My Story, the podcast on how sharing your personal brand story can impact your business. We will explore the perks and also the behind-the-scenes challenges of figuring out what to share. I'm your host, Reme Mancera, a personal brand strategist who loves finding the story connectors that illustrate the benefits of what you offer. And by the way, you don't need a Hollywood style for that. In case you ever wonder, remember, your story is relevant and worth telling. Hey there! Our guest today is Linnet Nyawara, a breakup and divorce coach. She's a devoted mother and a certified life coach with a passion for guiding individuals through life's challenges. She's a mentor, a facilitator, and speaker, and she collaborates with organizations like Gamblhers and the This Girl community, where she advocates for mental health, recovery, growth, and empowerment. During our conversation, Linnet explains how she overcame cultural taboos in order to share her story. She knew that sharing her experiences would help others facing a similar situation. Her vulnerability and compassion allow her to offer support and create a safe space for others to open up and heal. As a Kenyan woman living in the UK, Linnet tells us about her unique perspective on blending African and Western cultural backgrounds. In this episode, she also explains the importance of building a support system and how having one has affected both her personal life and her business. Stay tuned and listening as she unveils her story of resilience and empathy. You don't want to miss it. Welcome to Who Cares About My Story. Thank you, Linnet, for being here. So happy to have you as a guest.
I am so happy to be here and thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm all ears today.
Nice. We are looking forward to learn more about you. So let's start by telling us a bit about who you are and what you do, please.
Okay, it's going to be a long-winded one, but I'll try and be straight to the point. So like you say, my name is Linnet Nyawara. I'm an accredited breakup and divorce coach, certified life coach. I'm a mom. I'm a health professional as well. And I love to mentor, to talk to people, to support where I can. Yes.
Amazing. So, how do you get into that specialization? What's your story?
Oh, my story is a very long story. So it's a lived experience. I went through a divorce and I've also been through a breakup. And because of the difficulties that I had, it was very difficult for me. So I struggle. Mine happened a decade ago. So quite a few steps ahead. And that's why I do what I do. So the struggle that I had, I felt that somebody else would need help to move faster and to heal faster because divorce can break you down. It can tear you apart. And I had a difficult time moving on and, starting my life over. So along the way, I decided to give back to others by training with Sarah Davison, the divorce coach. So I trained as a breakup and divorce coach. And that has really helped me to heal as well because people say time heals, but sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes you need to really take action. So I took the action. I went through therapy, and also being training as a coach has also helped me to do what I do. And that is why I am a breakup and divorce coach.
Awesome. And I can understand how you really are connected to the needs and the challenges that your audience is living, right?
Yes. Because I think sometimes it's really good for somebody to go through a situation to have the experience. Besides the theory part and the practical side of things, when it is an experience that you have gone through, then it creates that compassionate and empathy that you can give back and help the other person. So that is actually where my divorce coaching was backed from.
Mm. Yeah, because then you have like both sides, like the professional and then the having the experience.
Yes, yes.
So, how telling your story has impacted your business?
Oh, that is a big one. That's a very interesting question. Telling my story, it wasn't easy. I actually had to get help because it's not any kind of a normal story. Like, say, for example, a career coach can say they've had experience in HR and this kind of stuff. And most people, especially my culture, I am a Kenyan, but I'm in Britain. So but I still have my morals and my background as well. So as an African woman, it's normally very challenging to really share your story of divorce to the community or to the world. So it actually took me time and training to really learn to share my story. I had to go to do a lot of inner work for me to be able to really share my story because I knew and I felt that somebody out there needed to hear my story to make them feel better and in the process of their healing. So by that, so I launched my story on Facebook, which was a difficult situation. But from that, I've seen how much it has helped other people. I get a lot of DMs coming through to my inbox because some people I don't feel comfortable sharing what they're going through. So my story has really impacted other people that I don't even know. I'm a stranger to them and they're strangers to me. But when you share your story without any kind of gimmicks, it can really impact other people. So that's why I don't fear sharing my story, but I've gone through training as well. And also the healing process as well really helps. And people normally ask me, how do you get the courage? There's never a good time, but sometimes you have to do some things afraid. But what I did was to talk to my children because that impacts them as well. And because I was going public and it's a heavy subject, I spoke to my children first and they gave me their blessing. And that is why I feel comfortable sharing my story.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I love that you bring that because when your story there is more people involved,
Mhm.
that is another level of challenge of deciding what to share or not because it's not just you the person that is going to be affected, there are
Yeah.
someone else that you love that they are going to be affected. So I guess this is a new level of challenges related to that specific
Oh,
area.
yes. It wasn't easy, though. I have to say that I have to really admit and share that as well. It was not easy. It wasn't easy at all. And to the point where I didn't even share it with my family because a marriage, when a marriage happens, is a community. It's just not the two of you that are involved. If your family, the man or the woman's family are involved, the kids are involved. And so I just needed that space to really be sure of what I was doing. But I didn't even ask my family members, by the way. I only asked my children because it
Mm.
affected them directly. And that's what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And I can imagine that there were a lot of purpose on that idea of sharing your story because it's a difficult thing to do, and it were like challenges involved, and still you were certain that this is going to help other people. So I am going to do it. So how was that process of encouraging yourself to do it?
Oh my gosh, it took me a long time because I went through a training first. And when we were told to go out there, it was on a Monday. I remember it was on a Monday, the 24th of July, 2022. And I was like, do I post? Do I not? Do I post? Do I not? But then I said I needed to do it. It's like somebody had to kind of push me at the back, well, imaginarily. But I
Mm.
told myself, if I don't do this today, somebody who is waiting to hear this will miss out. So it was difficult, it was challenging, but I decided to do it afraid. And the challenges I knew were going to be coming, were going to be asking me things. But the funny thing is, there's only one particular person who actually messaged me, was the other side of the family members, that I least expected that from.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to really sit back and decide this was my story. And I told them, this is my story. This is my version. I own this space. I own my story. So even though people have got their own ideas, they really haven't come to me. I get a few negative comments, obviously, because I have a big following on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't really worry me much, because I knew somebody would need this, but not everybody. And with that, I've learned to accept that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I appreciate that. You understand? I appreciate that. But it's part of me that needed to do that. And it also helped me to heal in my own way. And also to be authentic with who I am. And I'm happy I did that. But it was challenging. Don't get me wrong. It was challenging. And I was waiting and to hear what next. But I think that's the power of community. That is the power of getting the right people around you to support you with whatever choice you make in life.
Yeah, and how important it is to share who you are, so you attract the people that will support you and will
Yes.
building
Yeah.
that community from this place of truth.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So, do you remember a specific message that you get after that, that was like, this is the confirmation that someone was helping and needed this message from me?
Oh my gosh, yes, there's been a lot. There's been a lot. And because I coach people one-to-one mainly, because
Mhm.
it's a kind of coaching that is not very easy to do in a group, because everyone's need is different. But I've seen where my clients come back to me and tell me how I've made them feel better, how they've actually had time to really get to know themselves, how they've changed, how the communication, because part of what I do as well is I also support with parenting after the divorce or separation. So when people break up or are divorced and they have children, it's a whole different dynamic. And one of the main issues that my clients face is communication breakdown. There's still anger, there's bitterness. So I guide them and I give them practical tools of how to communicate better with their ex, because they have to parent together. And when the communication is breaking, then they need my support to help them bridge the gap. So that has been one of the highlights. And then people actually, I've had a client who is even doing better in a profession, because separation and breakup and divorce actually affect your productivity, whether it is work, any kind of relationships. And even the breakup in friendship as well, because friendship is also a major thing in life that people don't talk about. You sometimes, like, you grieve friendship. I've had to grieve friendship of so many years. When the friendship breaks up, it affects me. So I've had to also learn. And my divorce coaching has also helped me to navigate all these kind of um of dynamics as well, because it comes with a lot of pain as well. It's like you've lived with somebody, or you know somebody for so long, and when it goes away, then it leaves you with that kind of need to get the help.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing this. Uh, there were some unexpected challenge that you got when sharing your story.
Pardon?
Yeah, some unexpected challenge that you had when sharing your story or deciding what to share.
Yeah, there's a challenge, because sometimes you feel, how much should I share? How will people receive it? But I've learned to really get myself out of how I feel, because if I think about how I feel, then I'm not going to be vulnerable enough, because my kind of work includes a lot of vulnerability. So it's the point where, how much can I share? But then if I share it, what will people think? That's just on the side. But the challenge is getting people, especially men, don't talk much about this kind of issues. So the challenge is getting people to really accept and ask for help. because I know they need the help, but they find it difficult to really share. So when I share my story and be open about what happens, then it makes them easier. It makes it easier for them to come. So the challenge is finding people to seek help, finding people to getting people to find help. I mean, and also in the coaching side of things, one of the main things that I normally tell people is to get the support system. By that I mean, do you have people around you that will walk with you this journey? The people that you can trust. And that is the challenge that I find, because I've had clients who say, when I talk to my family, because they see the goodness of the ex, but because they don't live with them, they don't really understand it. So a challenge where somebody needs help, but they don't have the support system around them. That really is a challenge that I feel is a problem to my clients. For myself, I think it's because I've done so much work in it. I just get on with it.
And so, how had you handled that feeling of I am sharing too much, I am oversharing here, how I set the boundaries on what I share and what not? How had you handled that
How
experience?
how the fear is, I still have a coach as well. So because my kind of work involves a lot of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of emotional weight. So I'm in a community that we check on each other. So that is part of the thing that I find very, very effective in my work. So every 2 weeks, our coach comes and we have like a group session. And then like it's like self-care. So you go I do a lot of self-care. I do a lot of journaling. So, and then when you have a supportive community, is very important, where you can help talk about what problems you have. So having that support system has really helped me to navigate the challenges. So if I feel that, oh, am I sharing too much, then I share with the community, then they can help me how to go around it and to make it comfortable for me.
Mm. Yeah, so important to have that support in different levels, right? The
Yes,
professional, in our
yes,
personal lives. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So at some point, before sharing your story, were you wondering if someone will care about it? Were that thought, this is the name of the podcast, got that question in your mind at some point?
Yeah, the question was like, oh my goodness, who wants to hear this kind of messy story? who, who wants to hear a story about a breakup? Who wants to hear a story about being in debt, abuse, things like, who wanted to hear this? But I didn't realize that so many people had the same questions in their mind, but they didn't know where to channel it. So I am that channel that I've actually put it out there for them to really come slide into my DMs and say, I'm going through the same thing, but I don't know how to come out of it. So sometimes we keep quiet, but then the world needs to hear this. So
Mm.
people out there waiting for you and me to come and share the story. So who cares? A lot of people care. A lot of people care. And I've seen that in the past couple of years. People care. So we just need to really forget about what you're thinking and just do something, what is in your heart. So a lot of people do care.
Mm. Love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for sharing that. And to me, I always repeat the same, like your audience will care. There are people in your audience that are waiting for that little push that your
Yes.
story can make for them, and the
Yes.
motivation that can imply, and all the inspiration. And sometimes, like creating a safe space, because you are sharing your story, being vulnerable, you are helping them to realize that, yeah, this is a safe space. I can share my story here. They are also being vulnerable.
Yes. And that's something that I've created with my space in social media and in my coaching as well. I'm creating that safe space for them, because when somebody is going through a heartbreak, they think or they feel that nothing can come good out of it. When you're feeling low and feeling the rejection, So I offer that safe space for them to speak and to cry and to be vulnerable, to be authentic, because I share my story with them as well. So it's very important to share and to give that safe space, because this work I do needs that.
Yeah, it's so sensitive and there is so emotions and all that. So yeah, I can guess that it's so important. Um, there is a specific moment in your business story where you have made some significant pivots or something that changed a lot in your business?
Yes, I've got some feedback from a few clients before, because I work mostly with women, because I think women find it easy to talk about issues. I might be wrong, but because, and if you're a mother, mostly mothers, and now they become single parents, so they find it difficult to get time within the day to have a session with me. So what I've created was to create out of hours services, which means 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and even weekends, because that's the time that the kids are in bed, or they've come from work, they've done the dinners, or like weekends when the kids have gone to their dads or they have support. So I've had to really incorporate that in my services. So I also offer out of hours and weekends as well. Some people even like early in the morning before the kids wake up. So have had to create that space as well for them. So that's one of the things that I had to really reschedule and just like to make new into my business concept. Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand to make things easier for them to like giving the space and the moment for them to take care of themselves.
Yes.
And I was asking also in the sense of something that have changed in your business, not just in your services, but something that you have decided to make some kind of change in your business, adjusting things and that. How had you decided what to share about that process? The process of deciding the change, something doing differently. Are you communicating about that? Are you just deciding and then sharing just the result? What is your process in when deciding changes in your business?
I do ask for feedback from clients, and because there's power in in collaboration. And I also discuss this with my community as well, with my fellow coaches as well, because you might not know what people really want, because the people will give you the information you need to give them. So it's from the clients and it's from the followers that I ask questions that they give them back to me, because the business is not about me. If I don't have a business, if I don't have the clients, so they give me what they need, and then I work around them. So that is how I've managed to get this out there. Yeah.
Mm. There is this like you are sharing your story and then back listening to them and listening to their needs and their stories.
Yes, yes. It's very important in business, because the business is the people, because it's not about you what you want. Because if you plan what you want, then they don't need it. So then you have no business. So yeah, they're the foundation of my business, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Um, so at some point, have you get help to process the idea of sharing your story? I know that you have shared that. What about in the business side? Did you get help also figuring out how to shape your messaging and how you are going to share your story related to your business?
100%. I have worked and I'm still working with a business coach, because they've walked the journey, they have the experience that I don't have. So I share my concept, I share what I have, and then I need another pair of hands and a pair of eyes, and the experience that for the business side, because I am not a business qualified person at all. So yes, I do work with a business coach, and I also have a mentor who helps me to really put things together and share with them, this is my plan. What do you think? And then you can try and test it before putting it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. It's always having this external point of view, right?
Yes, 100%. I do. I do believe in partnership. I do believe in collaboration. I do believe in membership, because we met through that as well, didn't we? You never know who is out there who can help you out. And that is why it's good to be in membership. It's good to be in a community. Networking is another thing, very, very important, because through networking, you get somebody else who knows something that you're looking for, and then you can barter trade and help each other that way.
Actually, that's how we get into each other, through a community.
Yes, that's how we met. Yeah, that's how we met, which is what was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's the power of networking events and community, where you get to know different people, and maybe we are not a client of each other, but we can build our networks, and I will know someone that could need your help, and the other way around, right?
100%, yes.
So what and this is a question that I like to ask to all the guests.
Yes.
What part of your personal brand story surprises people the most?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I have to think about it. The fact that, because I tell people I have both sides of the world. I have the African culture and background, and I have the Western part of it. And so I marry them together. So I'm able to coordinate and to really align what I do with both sides of the world. So I'm very, very blessed that I have both sides, and I can switch from this to the other one or put them together.
So what the kind of feedback have you get from sharing that dual vision that you have now?
It's interesting because they find that I can switch both sides and I still handle it perfectly. I can balance it. No, not 100% all the time, but I can coach and understand somebody from an African background and also church, because I'm a Christian. So I can do that. And if I'm coaching somebody from the Western world, I also understand that. And they're wondering, how do you change and switch to this, to that, and then make it all look okay? So they're wondering, don't you not like your mind? But I say, because I'm trained and I have both sides, so I understand both sides of the world. So that actually helped me. So that's make them interesting. And then they also wonder how, coming from that kind of background, and it's like almost like a taboo, but I don't really care about that. I'm very authentic. My authenticity also attracts them and make them wonder how I do it.
I guess that's like your authenticity is even more valuable if you have a background where this is a taboo, and then you are overcoming that taboo, overcoming the challenge of sharing your story and being authentic on it.
Yeah. So I actually I love it, and appreciate it, because I do love and appreciate it. And being a mom as well to an adult child and a preteen, and I can balance both sides. I'm at work, I'm a coach, I'm doing all these things, I'm a Christian, but I still don't really um, use my Christianity to push people away. I actually use it to bring people even more to me. And I just being myself and being vulnerable and enjoying the moment, really.
Nice,
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, and yeah, just a thought that crossed my mind. You are like a translator between both of the of the culture, like switching
Yeah.
to one language to another, switching from
Yeah.
culture to another.
Yes, yeah, because I can speak Swahili, because I come from Kenya. I can speak Swahili, and I speak English, and I speak my tribal language as well. So if I get a client who does not speak English but speaks Swahili, I can also help with that. If I get a client who doesn't speak Swahili or English, then I can still speak my tribal language as well. So, and then I can bring myself to any kind of level. When I'm speaking to the children, I go to the level. When I'm speaking to older people, I go to the level. And people who are my age as well, I go to the level. So I'm blessed to have all the round, I'm kind of like all rounder, so I can switch to the needs of diverse, I would say, situation, really.
And one thought or one idea that you would like to share to the people that are listening to us?
Oh my goodness, I would love to share that, especially for anyone who's going through a heartbreak, anybody who's going through a divorce, separation, or struggling with parenting after divorce. If you're going through a heartbreak, you will feel things like rejection. You will feel that you are not wanted and all that. One thing I would encourage somebody who's going through this right now, it is not your fault. You will not always be every other person's cup of tea. And I would also remind them that it will get better. The main thing you need to do is to make a choice and choose you, especially if you're a mother, because children will always, like feel your energy. And if you can't look after yourself, you can't look after your children. And sometimes people grow apart, especially those who get married when they're younger, and then they divorce. Sometimes you just grow apart. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or the other person is a bad person. Sometimes you just grown apart. Things you grow at a different space, or you're just not meant to be with each other, or you're having issues when you got into the marriage. What were the reasons why you got married? At what age? What was the circumstance at that time? And when you're a parent as well, try your best not to badmouth the other person, because these children didn't have the breakup. And remember, the children love both of you equally. But sometimes when you're going through a breakup and the heartache, we forget about the children. And we focus so much on ourselves, on our pain, so much that we actually make the children choose who to love. And that is one of the difficult things that we put children through. But remember to get support system. Remember to have self-care. Always remember that you need to choose you first before anybody else. Because if you don't, then who will? And you can only show people how to love you the way you love yourself, how to treat you the way you treat yourself. So whatever thing that you're going through, I understand, I've been there myself, and it needs a lot of work. It needs support. It needs talking about it. And also, do not retell your story too much. It's good to talk about it. And again, choose who you speak to, who you speak about your stuff with, because not everybody will want to be in the journey with you. So I hope that helps. And I would love to say more, obviously, because I love what I do. And when I see people get better, when I help them, it gives me so much joy. So if I did it myself, you can do it. And I hope that somebody out there would hear this today and make them feel better.
Thank you very much. And please tell us how people can find more about you and your work.
Great. I'll have a website, and it's Reset with Linnet. Linnet of Linnet. So it's one word, Reset with Linnet.co.uk. You can find me on LinkedIn with my name, Linnet Nyawara, Linnet, and it's Nyawara. On Facebook, the same name. On Instagram, it's Reset with Linnet. And I'd love to give you a 20-minute free discovery call and see how I can help.
Brilliant. So I am also going to share all the details and the links in the description so people can find you easily. And just wanted to thank you for this conversation. I really appreciate you sharing your insights and your story here with us. So thank you very much.
I really appreciate it. And I hope we do this more to reach out and, reach more people. And thank you so much for this space that you give us, to give other people. You're doing an amazing job. You're a lovely woman. And I'm so great that I met you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in to Who Cares About My Story, the podcast on how sharing your personal brand story can impact your business. If you found this episode valuable, consider subscribing or leaving a review. Your feedback means a lot. Did something resonate with you today? Please share your thoughts on the podcast platform or on your socials. I would love to hear from you and give you a shout out. Just tag me on Instagram at Reme Mancera. I can't wait for you to meet our next guest. Until then, remember, your story is relevant and worth telling.